Hey Boxers! Hello, hello. We are back. Hi Boxers, welcome back for the English version of our town hall today. I'm excited to see you all join us and to have you all here, albeit virtually. Hello, welcome. It's so good to have you here. Thank you for joining us. I see Miss Lopez is here. We're going to run a very similar session, an open forum for parents to ask questions, to get some updates. I'm hoping that you've all come with some questions, and we'd love to hear any suggestions you have to continue to improve upon our school culture. Hello, Ms. Nevares, how are you? Um, so good to see everybody this morning. I hope that some of you were able to join us yesterday for our senior commitment day. Our counselors did a fantastic job. They put on such a great production so that our seniors could reveal where they were going after high school. It's just a special event. And as much as we'd love to do that live and in person, we really tried to do the best with what we had. So our seniors put on really great videos, and they shared some pictures, and we got to see a video from the Neuwirths, and we even had a live appearance. Well, that's not. Oh yes, we had live appearance from some of our previous teachers, and then we also had a recording from Will Ferrell. So even some celebrity appearances, which was fun. Thank you for joining us if you were there with us yesterday. I just want to start with some general announcements because since the last time that we were on back in April, we've had some, if some parts of our program evolve to what it is now. We try to continue to make distance learning better and more effective the more that we learn and grow. And so one thing we found is that a lot of our kids are showing up. In fact, we have almost 100% of our kids are getting in contact with the school. That's by submitting their attendance form. That's by phone calls with their advisors, and that can be through phone calls with our operations team. And so we are committed to connecting with all of our kids every day. And we are actually seeing that we're close to 100% almost every day. I see Mr. Casados here. He's our tech specialist at Neuwirth, supporting our families with internet connection and Chromebooks, hotspots if needed. So with all that we've done to get our kids to report or to touch base, what we're now focusing on is the submission rates of assignments. It's really important that we continue to focus on our kids' academic success, even through this really challenging phase that we're going through with the pandemic and the stay-at-home order. And so our kids, for the most part, are submitting their assignments at about a 65% rate, which is not good. It's not great. It's not the worst, but we would like to see closer to 100% of our kids really submitting their assignments every week. So I know that there are different challenges at home, but I'm really asking for parents to come through with the support on the home end, making sure that our kids have a quiet space to do their homework, making sure that we're really allowing them uninterrupted time to focus on their studies, to watch the video lessons, to complete their assignments, every course that they're taking. And kids in 9th and 10th grade are taking 3 or 4 courses. And then in the 11th and 12th grades, they're taking 4. Some are taking 5, depending on AP classes. But after the AP exams are over on May 22nd, we should see our kids really just focusing on those 3 to 4 courses. We want to make sure that we've minimized the number of courses that they're having to focus on so that they can more easily manage their work from home. But it's helpful to give them space to make sure that they have uninterrupted time so that they can focus and get those assignments done so that we can get closer to 100% submission. Now, what we found too is that it's not that our kids don't want to do the work. For the most part, it's that our kids are feeling overwhelmed and they're feeling bombarded, and they feel like there's a lot and they're not sure how to manage it. If you think about it, our kids who are in 9th, 10th, 11th grade, they were just jump started into, they were thrown into independent learning and expected to learn like a college student in 9th and 10th grade. And developmentally, that's not really appropriate. It's not what their what they were expected to be ready for, but our kids had to learn quickly. And a lot of them have really just risen to the occasion, and we're just so impressed and very thankful for their hard work. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. I love seeing all of our families join us on these town halls. As much as I would love to be on campus with you all, sharing donuts and coffee, I just really love and appreciate that you all are here. And so going back to supporting our kids academically, we found that it's not so much that our kids are just are reluctant to do the work because they just don't want to, but because they're feeling overwhelmed and sometimes not sure what to do and when to do it. And so our teachers came together and they created agendas, or basically clear schedules of what they're supposed to do every day for every course. And so what I encourage you to do, if you haven't started doing this already, every Monday, sit with your scholar and ask them to see the boxing ring. The boxing ring is the student newsletter that goes out every Monday. It goes out with their advisory video from Ms. Stobart. And in the boxing ring, they're going to see all of the current announcements. All of the agendas will be linked. Their schedule will be linked. Any information for seniors, specific information for sophomores, information on registering for courses next year. So if your kids are interested in taking AP courses next year, all that information is in the boxing ring. And so because we're boxers, we try to make it such that it kind of goes with the theme of our school. And so ask your kiddos, they know exactly what we mean. If they're like, what's the boxing ring? Just remind them that's the student newsletter that goes out every Monday and it's in their emails. They can also look for it in their Google Classroom for their grade. If you still don't know what you're talking about, email me. I will gladly send you the link to the boxing ring so that you have it. And so we're hoping that with the agendas, kids and families alike will have a better sense of what's due when, because we're down to the final month of school and we really want to finish strong. We want to finish as strong as we started. We want this to be another year in the books. Neuwirth is known for having great academic performance from its kids, from their teachers, and we want this to be no different this year, despite the challenges that we're faced with this year. And so I just want to make sure that's clear. I have a question coming in. What's going to happen with the money that we paid for senior activities? That's a great question. Most of our seniors have been refunded. They were, in fact, reimbursed prior to the closure on March 13th. If you didn't get refunded, you don't have to worry. We still will be refunding families. Now, there is going to be a little bit of a delay, and we do ask families to be a little patient with us because in order for us to refund the money, we actually have to issue paper checks, and the paper checks are on campus. And so we are asking our staff members to be at risk of going on campus, and I just don't necessarily want to put them in that position. So I'm just asking if you can just bear with us for just a little bit until the stay-at-home order is lifted. We will absolutely have access to those checks, and you have my word that if you don't receive the activities and you don't receive the items that you ordered, we will be refunding the money. So you are not losing that. Just remember that. As a point of clarification, if you ordered a cap and gown, those are coming. Those are coming. We're going to set up a pickup schedule next week. We'll communicate that, and then we'll start distributing those to seniors the last week of May through the first week of June so that you all can take pictures, and we really want our seniors to show up to the virtual graduation in their caps and gowns. The school is going to provide seniors with a free yearbook and also a yard sign. So you may have already seen some yard signs from other schools. I wanted to make sure that our kids had those so that they can proudly display their final year, and so those can go at the front of your house. Those will be available for pickup at the same time as the caps and gowns, and you'll get more information on that. If you're a senior parent, jot down this date. Next Thursday, May 21st at 4 p.m., we're going to host a senior family info night, and it's at that session where you're going to get information on caps and gowns, more graduation info, and any questions that you may have. And so if you're interested in purchasing the panoramic picture, we receive those. And if you haven't picked that up, we can get that to you at the same time that you pick up your cap and gown. I think Ms. Perez is on here. If you haven't ordered it and you would still like to order it, we do have those for order. So you're welcome to be in contact with Ms. Perez. And her email is stperez@laalliance.org. you can be in contact with her directly to order that. And she can also answer any questions you have about senior activities. For the most part, they've been canceled, unfortunately. We're still thinking through potentially like a homecoming dance as their prom, so that seniors can come back after their first semester of college, or that they can come back to us in December, and that hopefully we can host a prom for them in that way. Great question around re-enrollment for next year. Please, please sit with your scholars and look through their emails with them. They should have received an email last week, and the email came from the Alliance enrollment team. It's going to give you information for PowerSchool, the parent portal. And once you sign in, then you've essentially re-enrolled. But it's really important that you look for that email, because you should have received it this past week. If not the last week, they started sending those out the last week of April 27th to be exact. And that's how you re-enroll. It's really important that we have all of our kids re-enroll, because we don't want anybody to lose their space for next year. We want 100% of our families back next year. Thank you, Ms. Lopez. I see that she joined us and she's given the information. She's noted the info for the senior parent meeting next Thursday. Mr. Gott's here with us. Hey, Mr. Gott. He's our math teacher and our math department chair. It's really great to see teachers and staff on with us here. I also wanted to share a little bit about graduation. So we have decided, just because of the limitations that we've been given per the guidance from the governor, from the Department of Education, the CDC, like, it's really important that we are maintaining the safety of our scholars, of our campus, of our staff. And so while we wanted to be really creative and create an opportunity that we could, have a graduation so that we could come together, that's really going to be impossible for us to do at this point. And so we are working with an outside organization to put on a production, much like Challenge Day, but for their graduation. And that'll be in June at around the same time that we anticipated doing the regular graduation. And so more information on that will be shared on May 21st at 4 p.m. at the senior parent meeting. As for caps and gowns, those will be picked up at the last week of May and the first week of June. Ms. Perez is going to send out specific time slots so that seniors can sign up. We are going to limit the pickup to one person to come onto campus and pick up the items that you've purchased. So your cap and gown, your panorama photo, if you need to pick that up, your senior sweater, and any other items that you may have purchased. But we're also going to hope to have like a senior yard sign for you there. The yearbooks may not be ready in time, so we will be mailing those out, or you can pick those up with your diploma once we have those, because remember, we're going to be sending out diplomas as well. If you need to order a cap and gown, or you're not sure if you've ordered it, please email Ms. Perez. Again, she can tell you about whether or not you have an order already submitted, and those caps and gowns have already arrived. Right now, we're just waiting because we have two colored caps and gowns. We have black ones for the majority of our scholars, and we have white ones for the scholars who earn top 10% in their class. And so we're just waiting on the white gowns at this point. But you can just email Ms. Perez and she can confirm that your scholar has a cap and gown. How do we get information? Good question. How do we get information to seniors that made it to graduation? I think if I understand your question correctly, you're asking how do we confirm whether or not we're graduating? If that's not your question, please let me know and I will try and answer that more effectively. But essentially, if you are at risk of not graduating, the counselors, Ms. Aguilar specifically, will be in touch with you. It's really important that you're on PowerSchool and you're looking at your grades. If you have NPs in any course right now, you are at risk of not graduating. So it's so important that you're looking on PowerSchool, that you're keeping up with your grades through PowerSchool. And if you don't have information as to how to access that, Ms. Lopez can show you and give you your login credentials. But all scholars have access to PowerSchool. So again, as long as you're passing all your classes, you should be good. And if you haven't heard from the counselor yet, but if you're not passing, it's really important that you recognize that your graduation depends on successfully passing all of your courses. Ms. Lopez said that she can reach out to confirm whether or not you have ordered a cap and gown. So if you want to just touch base with Ms. Lopez, she'll be the liaison for you. Thank you, Ms. Lopez. These are really great questions. I appreciate that. And I know, we want to make sure our parents stay informed. And there are lots of questions during these times. A lot of things are still uncertain, just given the pandemic and the constant and the ever-changing news that we get just from local government officials. And so we really appreciate our parents and our families being so patient with us while we transition to this new method of learning. And thank you so much for your continued support at home. With that said, too, it's really important that I make the following announcement regarding our budget, because some of you all may have already heard information that across the entire state of California, the COVID-19 pandemic has and will continue to have great impact on the funding that schools receive. Now, for a while, we weren't sure exactly what that was going to mean. Neuwirth has a budget of about $9 million, and that budget includes all of our teachers and staff salaries, all of our materials, our events, the activities that we put on for kids, athletics, all of the materials that are needed for the curriculum for the academic program, our counseling team, and our services that really do support the well-being of our families outside of academics. And so when we learned that we would have an impact to the budget, we were just I think naturally just concerned. Thankfully, I do want to say that Neuwirth can rest easy knowing that because we have a pretty healthy budget as it is, and we have a very healthy enrollment list and a wait list that keeps our enrollment numbers at a steady pace. It's really we're in a position where we've had to make some cuts and we've had to scale back on some of the material that we'll be purchasing for next year, but we have not needed to make significant cuts in personnel or in teachers or cuts in employees. And we're very thankful to that because we have a really great Neuwirth team. We have a very great academic program. We have a really incredible I think social emotional development program, and that includes things like athletics. And so, while we may not be able to go on as many field trips or as many college trips because we've had to scale back our spending for next year, I just want you to remember that we were able to make some decisions to pull back in some areas so that we wouldn't necessarily lose teachers and other personnel. But we still believe very strongly that we're going to be able to offer our kids the strong academic program that we have always been able to offer in the past because we have such great teachers. We have very creative staff who are going to try and think outside the box so that we can continue to support the opportunities and to offer those same experiences to our kids. And so our priority when we make decisions around budget is really about making sure that we can stick to the grounding priorities in giving our kids the best learning opportunities possible so that we can stay true to our promise in giving the kids of and the families of South LA the best possible high school experience to prepare them for high school and beyond. So I wanted to share that with you all so that when you start reading more news about school budget specifically being impacted by the virus, by the pandemic, and by the stay-at-home orders, you recognize that your family is in a place at Neuwirth where we've been able to work strategically so that we aren't cutting back the number of staff or even the number of scholars and families that we can serve. So just wanted to make you aware of all of that. Had another question here. Yes, well, good question. Ms. Nevares, I think Ms. Aguilar should contact parents. You're absolutely right, and she's definitely doing that. So the counselors are reaching out. I think my answer previously was just that if you just want some peace of mind, if you haven't heard from her and you're not sure, but you want some peace of mind, feel free to reach out to her. But absolutely, Ms. Aguilar and the RTC team is not only reaching out, but they are scheduling family meetings virtually with any of our kids in 12th grade through 9th grade, with all of our kids who are at risk of not being promoted to the next grade or not graduating. Thank you for that comment. I see Mr. Wong has joined us again. Welcome. Oh, and I see Miss Perez is on here. She's joining us on as the representative here of Boxers ASB, which is our student council organization. If you're not following them on Instagram, please give them a follow. They post some really cool things, just throwbacks to what we've done this year. And then obviously when we're in session, normally they put up updates on all of the events that our scholars are putting on. And so she just confirmed that she ordered caps and gowns for all of our seniors. And so at this point, if you have not placed your payment for the order, you just need to get that to her when you're able to. So rest assured that your child will have a cap and gown. Thank you, Ms. Perez. See if I've missed any questions. I just want to quickly scan these. Again, thank you all for joining us today. I really appreciate you just hopping on and asking questions. Again, it's really important for us that we keep our families, our parents informed. That's really, I think, the most critical because we can't rely on your support if you're not sure how. We need support. And, it's really important for you all to be in the know so that, you can both support kids at home and that you are, resting assured that, we'll continue to do whatever we can despite the limitations to make sure that our kids are getting the best possible education during this time. As a reminder, our school year ends officially on June 12th, which is a Friday. Hello, Ms. Lorenzo. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, of course, it's my pleasure. And so if you weren't sure as to when the last day of the school year was, it is June 12th, which is the same as it always has been. If your scholar is required to attend summer school, some of our families will have to attend summer school because they have yet to earn a full credit or they didn't pass a class. And so the counselors will also be in touch with those families if it is if it's required of our scholars. And summer school will begin July 6th. And so scholars will have a couple weeks to rest, to recover, to kind of reset for summer school. And summer school will go through the month of July. Summer school will also be virtually, will be done virtually. So we'll continue in distance learning just because, as most of you already know, the stay-at-home order was extended through July. So we're going to continue summer school virtually. And we'll make sure to be in contact with those families whose scholars are required to attend so that you have all of the information about which courses exactly. But the learning expectations will be very similar to what the expectations have been during this time. Oh, I see Coach Corali's here with us too. Welcome. It's so good to see you all, even if virtually. I don't actually know the cost of the cap and gown, but if Ms. Perez, if you're still on, if you can include that in the chat, I think that'd be helpful. I see Ms. Gray has joined us. So families, we actually have quite a few teachers on right now. Lots of our teachers are joining us. And again, if you have questions for our teachers, please don't hesitate to reach out directly through their emails, through Parent Square. I know some of you had questions about grades, and the grades are continuing to be posted in the same way that they were posted during the regular school year. And so I would advise you to go on to Power School, check the grades there, make sure that if you have questions about any missing assignments, that you're in contact with your kid about it. Make sure that our scholars are having those conversations with you at home. You can email a teacher to ask about any assignments that maybe scholars can make up or if they're missing any. But it's really important that we start to teach our kids how to self-advocate and really to take on that responsibility for themselves. So even if that means you're sitting with them while they're typing an email, encourage your scholar to type the email. Encourage your scholar to dial your teacher's Google Voice number. All of our teachers, for the most part, some may not yet have them, but I believe the majority of our teachers do have Google numbers. So make sure that you encourage your scholar to take that step so that you know what their grades are. Every course is required to assign 2 tasks per week, and teachers will submit 1 new grade per week. So if you have any questions about that, please be in touch with your teachers and then also with the counselors that oversee each grade level. So just as a reminder, Ms. Mandujano is our 9th and 10th grade counselor. Miss Mohammed is our 11th grade counselor, and Miss Aguilar is our 12th grade counselor. There's a question about when grades are due. So at the end of every week, after a teacher has graded the assignments for that week, they are submitting one new grade for the course that they teach. So you should check, just because teachers can submit their new grades at any point on Friday, I would check every Monday for the new grade from the past week. Great questions. And if you don't already know, our scholars in advanced placement courses or AP courses are currently taking their AP exams. They started this week. They'll continue through next week. And so it's so important that, we recognize how important these exams are so that we can give our kids the space and the time to focus with uninterrupted, time so that they can sit and quietly concentrate on their exams. Each exam is 45 minutes, which is a change from the 3 hours that they're typically. And so if your scholar tells you, like, I'm about to take an AP exam, wish them well, give them the space, maybe set them up with some snacks and water. We want to continue to champion on our kids and give them the support that they need at home to take on these exams at home. So the AP exams happen, and then right after that, at the end of May and into the first week of June, we'll have our final exams for the courses, and then we are all done for the school year. So we really only have about 3 weeks of instruction before we enter finals, and then school ends on June 12th. See if I have other questions. Oh, can the 9th graders start applying for scholarships? There are some scholarships that are open to students in grades 9, even in 8th grade, actually. And so I would encourage you all to start looking for those scholarships either through scholarships.org, College Board. We do a really good job. I'd say for the counselors do a really great job of sharing all of those opportunities as they come out. The scholarships that are Alliance specific, or the ones that our seniors have been awarded, are specific to seniors. And so those are shared in those are shared in their junior year so they can start preparing their essays and start preparing for those applications. So the Alliance specific scholarships, the ones that were just awarded during our challenge day yesterday, those are, and also the Neuwirth, Mr. and Mrs. Patty and Peter Neuwirth will also give some scholarship money for our seniors. But I would encourage you to start as soon as 9th grade by looking at some of the external agencies that make those available to our younger kids. But like the Gates, the Dell Scholarship, those are all open to our seniors in their final year of high school. Oh, final semester grades. Thank you. Thank you for the clarifying question. So the final semester grades will be submitted the following, they'll have to be due by June 12th, because June 12th is the last day for all of our teachers as well. And so we have a couple days the following week for processing. And so let me just look at the calendar here. You can expect final report cards to be processed and sent out by June 17th. So between June 17th and June 19th. So you'll have those. But again, if you have any questions about the current status of your scholar, please log on to PowerSchool. It's really important that you know how to access that portal so that you can be aware of a student's attendance, so you can be aware of their grades. And then also that's how we're going to make sure that our families are re-enrolling this year. So if you have any more questions about that, please don't hesitate to reach out. Just know that progress reports, you should have a progress report either in your mailbox because they were sent out and they were to be received on Wednesday of this past week, or it should be coming no later than Monday. So look out for your progress report. If you can't find it, it was very much sent out. You might ask your scholar about it. You can also touch base with Mrs. Lopez and we can figure out how to get you another copy of the progress report. See, any other questions on here? I appreciate all of your questions. I'd also love to get your feedback too. How has it been in terms of I know homeschooling your scholar is probably not what you signed up for. And so I want to commend you for taking on such an incredible task. But if there's anything that we can do to better support you, please let us know. I want to make sure that we're offering all the support that we can, even if it's, outside of the scope of teaching and learning. Our responsibility is really about making sure our kids are getting to and through uh, high school and to and through college and beyond, and that requires that we are attending to the emotional and mental health supports of our kids and to the basic resources that our kids need. And so if you're finding that this has been a real struggle and there are basic resources that the family needs, let us know. We have Mr. Diaz, who's our social worker, who's been working with some of our family members just to support them in meeting those basic needs, because our kids can't learn and we can't expect our kids to really strive for higher if they're barely getting what they need in terms of, if families have lost jobs, if there are basic like needs such as food that aren't being met just because everyone is struggling in very different ways right now. And so we want to be sensitive to that, and we want to make sure that we're supporting our kids in any way possible so that they can thrive and that they can really focus on learning and growing during this time. I see some of our scholars are joining as well. It's so good to see you all on here. And so again, I would encourage our families, the big priority for those of you who are current families and seniors, except for seniors, our current families in 9th, 10th, and 11th, it's really important that we get all of you to re-enroll so that no one loses their space next year. We did a preliminary just to get a preliminary sense of what our re-enrollment would look like. We asked our scholars to give us their response to whether or not they would be returning. And the majority of our kids said yes. We also had some say, maybe, I'm not sure, I'm not really digging it, I'm not really into the school. And so we have to take that with a grain of salt because, high schoolers are high schoolers. Sometimes they're happy with the school, sometimes they're not. And I appreciate that, and I want to hear them out. But we also wanted to touch base with our families because some said that maybe they were moving, maybe that the impact of COVID-19 might, require the family just move to another school or move to another community. And so if we didn't get a sense that we're coming back, we were calling those families to confirm, but we do need everybody to re-enroll. And so once you can either start now and look at the email, you should again look for an email that was sent by the Alliance enrollment team. And I believe the subject is something along the lines of required action, parent power school account or login. So you can search all those words and look for it in your scholar's school assigned email. Yes, thank you, Ms. Lopez. Ms. Perez is working on on coordinating a pickup time for our seniors so that they can come by to campus and pick up their cap and gown and other items that they may have ordered. When is the actual virtual graduation? That's a really good question. We don't have a specific date yet. We will have a date set by early next week. And once we have that, we're going to share that information with all of our senior families and all of our seniors. Seniors, if you're on here, senior families, if you're on here, please make sure that you save the date. May 21st is when we are having our senior parent meeting. And obviously our seniors are invited to attend as well. Ms. Aguilar will be hosting with Ms. Ms. Lopez, and Ms. Perez will be present too, I'm sure, so that they can answer those questions. And that's what we'll be sharing the virtual graduation date. What's nice about the virtual graduation too is that you can have families join from other states, from other countries. You can have friends join in. We're going to try and do a hybrid session of both live and pre-recorded so that it's similar to our challenge day, but that way we're able to see our kids in their caps and gowns, and we're hoping that our kids will show their face because I don't know what it is. It's this trend that started in distance learning, and this is like nationwide, but our kids are reluctant to show their face. And so teachers are teaching to little black squares, and I'll host office hours and I'm talking to little black squares. So I'm hoping that our families will come and join their scholars, and that scholars will show up virtually and that they'll be in their cap and gown. So we'll share that information and more to come as we finalize that date. see if I hope I haven't missed any. Okay, good. Oh, thank you for sharing. I see that some families have not received an email regarding the re-enrollment. I apologize if that's the case. Please email Mr. Salgado, Mariano Salgado, our school operations manager. His email is smariano@laalliance.org. And I believe Miss Lopez is saying that the link is in Parent Square to be able to do that too. So you can go about that both ways. You can either connect with Mr. Salgado about the email or find the link on Parent Square. I'm so glad that those of you who were able to join us yesterday for Challenge Day, I really am so glad that you all got to see that. It was a really nice opportunity for us to come together and celebrate and recognize our seniors, and they had time to share with us where they were going next year. We had teachers join, we had former teachers join us. We also had some video footage from the Neuwirths, and there was a celebrity appearance. If you didn't get a chance to join us, you can actually see that video that the scholars made on our Instagram. I believe Mr. Casado posted it there for you all. Oh, more scholars joining us. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, and then I don't know if you're aware of this, but I actually host office hours for our kids Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Monday from 4 to 5, actually from 4 to 4:30, and it's the same time every day, except that on Monday I meet with our freshmen. On Tuesday I meet with our juniors. On Wednesday I meet with our seniors, and on Thursday I meet with our sophomores. So it's 9, 11, 12, 10. And at the same time every day from 4 to 4:30. And it's basically office hours with Dagnino. If you would like to jump on with your scholar at that time, you are more than welcome. So that I know that we're committing to doing these town halls once a month, but if you wanted to touch point with me for any reason, you can join your scholar for those office hours, and I'm happy to answer those questions. I've had a couple parents join our office hours, and it's nice. They'll be like back doing whatever they're doing, cooking or cleaning, and from the back like, hey, ask her this. And it's really just nice to be able to connect with our families that way too. So if you have any more questions, I'm always going to be available during those office hours, and your scholars have links to those in their Google calendars and also in their Google classrooms. Thank you, Ms. Lopez. I see Ms. Lopez shared her email, so that if you have additional questions, you're welcome to email her. Good question. So if there are seniors who have yet to pay for their caps and gowns, there will be an opportunity for you to do that. Just know that the caps and gowns are there. And you should talk to Ms. Perez, because regardless of whether or not you've paid, you can. Oh, look at that. This is news to me. Thank you. Ms. Perez is just saying caps and gowns are free. The school did cover the cost. Oh, I guess I did cover the cost. I'm telling you, these are decisions that we make back in September for the end of the year. So I'm glad that we had it in our budget to be able to do that. So you don't have to worry about that. I think the idea was that if I expect my kids to graduate, I should give them what I expect them to be in when they graduate. I believe now that I'm remembering now. Thank you, Ms. Perez, for the reminder. Appreciate that. So no need, if you haven't paid, don't worry about that. You're not going to have to pay for your cap and gown or your yearbook. That's something only for this year's class. Sorry, juniors. That may not necessarily be the case next year, but we'll see. So then, oh, thank you. That's right. We did order them quite a while ago. Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Lopez. That's a good point. Just the email from the Alliance enrollment team was actually sent to our scholars because we couldn't be sure that we had every parent's email or their most current email. So we sent it to our scholars, and the email said, show this to your parents. And so you won't personally have an email, but it may be sitting in your scholar's inbox. So touch base with your kiddo, let them know that they need to open their email and they need to look for that email. Have them search in the search box in their email for Alliance Enrollment Team, and it should come up. If you still can't find the email, just email either Ms. Lopez or Mr. Salgado. Thank you. And I'm sorry I caused confusion with that. Thank you for that. So yes, if we said we were going to purchase them at the senior meeting, that's exactly what we did. So no need to worry about that. Oh, good call. So you actually keep your cap and gown so that you, I mean, quite frankly, you can maybe put it in a shadow box or I don't know, use it for Halloween afterwards. But we won't ask for those back. What we do need back, though, are the uniforms and any athletic equipment that was issued to your scholar. And we will eventually we will be asking for the Chromebooks to come back and the hotspots to come back because we need to make sure that we sanitize those, that we keep we keep those updated, and that we make sure that they're in good use for the rest of the school year. But they need to be updated with software and all that jazz. So just make sure that you recognize that we'll be asking for those items at some point. We're not sure exactly when, just because again we have to wait till we get guidance from local officials. So if you have any questions about that, please again don't hesitate to be in touch. Hey Shaylee, I see several scholars in here. Thank you. Well, I think we've reached about the end of our session together. I believe we're probably going to do one more live town hall in June, just to answer any final questions about summer school, about the end of the school year. And I'm hoping that, within a couple weeks, we'll have more information about, starting the next school year. The next school year is meant to start on August 12th, which is a Wednesday. And I know that right now, all of the training that we host for teachers before the new school year will be done virtually. So we actually can't go back to campus as a teaching team either. And so we don't know yet whether our kids can go back in the fall, but we're hoping to have more information in the next couple of weeks and definitely at the end of June. And we'll start to issue that information and disseminate that to our families so that everyone knows what to expect. I had some questions about the uniforms. As soon as we know when our scholars are able to come back safely to campus, then we will start distributing polos for our seniors and then polos for our incoming ninth graders. It's really, if you'd like to be prepared before that, I would encourage you to look out for the uniform bottoms. But again, if it's the case, I'm not saying that this will be or that it won't be, because again, we don't yet know. But if it's the case that we have to start, excuse me, the fall semester through distance learning, our scholars won't need uniforms, obviously, but we'll make sure to prepare the pickup and coordinate time for our families to pick up polos and uniforms for PE, etc., just before the school year starts back up on campus. So lots of dates shared in there. Again, if you're a senior parent, May 21st, next week at 4 p.m. Last day of the school year, June 12th. Summer school starts July 6th. And next school year, we will start back up again on August 12th. Again, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate having you all here, and I loved all the questions. It really helps kind of keep the conversation going, and I hope that you all feel that your questions have been answered. If later on you remember to ask something and you're not sure, you can reach out to me. You can email Ms. Lopez. You can reach out to Ms. Perez. Quite frankly, we're all in communication all the time. And really, I aim to make sure that the entire team is aware and in the know so that anybody you connect with will be able to answer your question. And if they can't answer your question, they will find somebody who can. Thank you so much again for all your support, your continued love, and we want to share that same, and hopefully you feel that reciprocated. We love you all so much. We miss our kids so much, and we can't wait to be back on campus. Until then, we are going to continue to work as hard as we do for you, for our families, and for our kids, and really in service to the community of South LA. Thank you so much. Thank you, parents. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.